And then there's the onboarding and training. So when you sit back and you look at the cost of hiring, I want you to think about the total cost of hiring. And I'm going to follow up this presentation. I have a really good calculator that I will email all of you. And that calculator leads you through literally Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and LinkedIn, how much time it could take. It's usually around 30 days to make a hire, right? And then the cost of that. P.S. The time it takes to onboard and train and integrate into your office and your systems, your clients, right? That's the total cost of hiring and what you have to keep in mind. And you may end up making the decision of, there's places out there that can help me with this. There are places out there, staffing agencies that can help me with, if I do want to hire a US-based employee, what does that look like? Or maybe I want to go down the offshore remote staffing path. And what does that look like, right? It's all a lot, right? Because, you go to school to be an attorney. You didn't go to school to be an HR specialist, right? So what's the next step? Where do you start? Now, the next two slides are very specific to what you need as a small solo practitioner or a small law firm, even a medium law firm, when you're looking to scale and looking to grow, right? The key positions that will help you get there. And what you're looking at with respect to investment is an offshore staffing option, right? And then if you are going to go that route, you definitely want to know what that revenue is before you hire and what that revenue would look like after the hire, right? So I will tell you that in our experience at Get Staffed Up, we believe that there are 7 key positions. Now, my caveat to that is 7 key positions. And if you are a personal injury attorney, the key position is case manager, right? And how do you go about finding a case manager and using an offshore remote employee solution to be a case manager, right? And because the dynamics of that personal injury attorney firm are so different than other firms, right? And keeping the costs down, right? So those are your 7 key positions and the revenue that can be generated. And again, you'll receive this presentation so you can really take a hard look at those numbers, right? But you've made the decision to hire. You need to hire to scale. You have some options of do it yourself or work with a staffing organization, right? You have the option of maybe I want to hire remote. And what does that look like? And maybe I want to hire remote in an offshore setting, right? But then you're going to have a resource. How do you know what to allocate and optimize that resource, right? How do you know that? Well, you can use the 80-20 principle. And it's not all or nothing, guys. It's a combination of what you're seeing on the screen, right? And we're going to go into more detail about a lot of these, but 80-20, right? I know I've got a great resource because I want to hire, right? I know that I need a particular type of resource, i.e. position, to help me grow. And then I need to say, how does that new position, that new resource, how does that work with my current resources? What I'm doing on a daily basis is the attorney, right? How does it work with if I have in-house staff? What does that look like, right? And how do I and what do I do as management principles, right? Like I'm in Detroit, Michigan, right? And lean manufacturing was all the rage a few years ago. I like to say a few years ago because it makes me feel less old. But lean manufacturing is a really good management principle and it helped obviously streamline product production. But you can use lean principles when you are in the service industry, right? So between 80-20 rule and lean practices and empowering your staff, these are all ways that you can optimize these new resources, these new hires that you're bringing in, right? This is one of my favorite slides and one of my favorite things that are said in 24 Months to Freedom, right? A lot of leaders, and especially if we are new leaders, the first thing we think of is I can do it better, faster if I just do it myself. I don't have time to hire, let alone train, let alone hire, train, and delegate. But I want to flip the script, and I want you to think about it from your client's perspective. Your client picks up the phone. They have an immediate need. They need an attorney. They need an estate planning attorney. They know they've got to get that paperwork done. And they call you, and you answer the phone. What optics does that really have? And think about it when you're a consumer. If you need to have brain surgery and you call up the doctor's office and the brain surgeon answers the phone, what do you immediately think? Well, this person's not very busy. This person's doing too much. And if they're doing too much, they're probably overwhelmed. And do I really want them operating on my brain, right? So I need you to take a minute and really think about this statement and how it really does impact your law firm if you are answering your own phone, right? Okay, you've made the decision to hire. Great decision. You are now thinking, okay, Colleen, I'm hiring a marketing assistant because I know I need to get more clients in, but I don't even know when you're saying delegation, I don't even really know what that means. Isn't delegating just telling somebody what to do? It's really not, right? If you are just telling somebody what to do, that's giving them a task. That's tasking. If you are delegating, you are truly having a shift in decision making from one authority to another organizational level in your firm. In other words, right, you are giving up some power. And that's okay, because when you know the right hire and you find the right hire, they will make you feel so good about taking things off your plate, and you build the trust that delegating gets easier and easier and easier. But nobody is born with the delegation skills, right? Delegation takes training. You have to educate yourself and you have to practice. And when you do that, both parties get better. You get better at delegating, getting things off your plate, freeing up yourself to focus on the law and what makes the most money in your law firm and where your time is best spent. And the person that you are delegating to, they start to feel empowered and they feel good about getting out of bed because they're making a difference and they want to help get things off your plate, right? So, okay, great. What do you delegate? Well, delegate almost everything, right? I really want you to sit down, take 5 minutes for yourself, right? Make a list, make a laundry list of absolutely everything you do, from every email that you open, every phone that you answer, every lunch that you schedule, every meeting you have to go to, every social media post that you think you need to write. I want you to go through absolutely everything. And I want you to take a hard look at that list. And I want you to put numbers to that list. If it's, I'm doing a social media post because I am my brand, that's a $10 an hour task. I am going to create content for my website, and I am going to take 3 hours of my time. Well, that might be $300, right? Then you're going to look at that list and you're going to say, you know what? I really, really hate billing. I hate billing. It's so uncomfortable. I hate billing. It's something I really dislike to do. And then you're going to say to yourself, why am I doing that if I don't like to do it? And then you're going to sit back and say, wow, I didn't know that I was spending this many hours a day. I'm overwhelmed by how many hours I'm spending a week on literally putting together my calendar. So maybe it's time you have an assistant, right? And think about that 80-20 rule when you're looking at your list, right? I do see some hands up. Joe, can you help me with that? I'd appreciate it. How do we leverage the 80-20 rule for delegation, right? What does that really look like? So I've told you about it, right? And we understand the principle behind it, right? But where I'd really like you to focus, dead center. Identify the key roles that directly impact client satisfaction, revenue generation, and overall firm performance, right? That's where you need to focus your hires. Two elements with respect to delegation. You've made the decision to hire. You now have someone who's ready to start. What are you going to give them to do? And what does that look like, right? You have to delegate, give up the authority on, and empower the employee who has the skill sets to get the job done, right? So what do I mean by that in a real world example, right? Well, I color for a living. That's what I always joke with my team about, right? I do marketing, right? So when somebody says, what do you do for a living? Well, I color for a living, right? The one thing you probably don't want to do with me is put me in charge of being the CFO and all your books, right? I don't have that skill set. I wasn't trained in accounting, right? I was trained in marketing, or as my dad would say, you were trained to talk a lot. So I don't have the skill set needed. So don't delegate tasks to me that are going to be debits and credits and numbers based. Don't delegate invoicing clients when I don't have that skill set. Now I'll make your invoice look damn good, but what I can't do is make sure that I'm billing correctly, right? And it's that simple. When you are looking to hire and when you are looking to delegate the right tasks to the right people, right? They've got to have the skill set. And here's the thing. When you start going down that path, you have to give up some of that control, and that is frightening. But guys, I am telling you, when you have the right people, you are going to give them opportunities to learn and grow. I was talking to somebody the other day, and one of the things they said to me is, I started off as a receptionist in this one law firm. And guess what? The reason I did that is I was putting myself through law school, and I one day wanted to be a law firm owner. So think of it this way. You are giving someone an opportunity to benefit from your experiences, and they may want to own their own firm. They may want to own their own business. So remember what I told you? A law firm's a business. So you may have someone sitting there in your receptionist chair, and it doesn't have to be in the office next to you. It could be a remote employee who really you're giving an opportunity for them to learn and grow. You know, we talked briefly about make a list of tasks. And if it's a $10 task, delegate that out, right? It's probably a non-core task, right? But one of the things you really have to understand, and this goes back to when I was telling you, you know, I'm old. And when I was developing the first marketing team that I was in charge of, I didn't have the skill set that I have now. And that skill set was really analyzing myself and learning who I was as a leader. One of the things that I do not do well is clearly outline tasks, objectives, and expectations. I have missed that step in the past, right? And I expect my hires to learn by watching me do. And that's not always best for the employee. And that's what I mean about know yourself and know yourself as a leader, and then hire appropriately, right? And I've learned that for me, if I clearly outline a task and I start working with someone, they will not only learn from my actions, but now they have a clear understanding of what that task is and my expectations for that task. You need to constantly monitor, and that doesn't mean micromanage. You monitor the progress. not the individual, what they're doing, and did they write it this way, and did they make sure that they filled in this blank, and this blank. It's the progress. Are they moving it along? And am I giving them feedback to make sure that what I have delegated to them, that they are understanding the expectation? And if they are not understanding the expectation, that I am giving them feedback on a constant daily, weekly set up meetings, right? And make sure that you are providing feedback. If you don't want it to be a meeting, don't have it be a meeting, but establish the communication channel that's going to work for you and the person you are delegating to. You don't have time for another meeting, but you can definitely take 5 minutes and send a quick email. You don't have time for a meeting, but you can do a quick Teams call, or maybe you do like to meet. Right? So you've got to figure out what type of leader you are and how to delegate to that hire appropriately. When you are delegating and you are giving up a little bit of that control over those non-core tasks, it's going to free up your time, right? It is going to free up your time to do the legal work. Right? There are things that when you make that list, you're going to say, I don't need to draft that contract. We've got a boilerplate template. I can give that to a legal assistant, right? That research that needs to be done, I can give that to a paralegal, right? You are going to start looking at those tasks and say, oh, you know what? I remember what Colleen said, this is a $100 an hour task. I got to be focused on the $10,000 an hour tasks. I can start delegating these non-core tasks and get them off my plate. And then once I do that, you create what I like to call the power station. That's my team. My team is a ball of energy that is the power station, right? I provide the clear guidelines. I give them clear deadlines, and that is key. Don't go into this whole hire delegation, right? And say, well, I know I need a marketing assistant, but I don't know how long it takes to develop a website, so I'm not going to give a deadline, because I don't really know how long it's going to take to develop that website. It's okay. Work back and forth. One of the things I do is I say, hey, Andreas, I need a video by Tuesday. Does that work? And he'll come back and he'll say, you know what, Colleen, Wednesday's better. Wednesday's better because I got this, and this. And then you push, right? And I'll say, Andres, I really need that video because I'm going before our co-founder and I need to present them with this new video. Could you have it by close of business on Tuesday? Right? Then he's had input. I've had input, and there's a solid deadline. And give and take, and that input is really going to help you be the best leader and the best delegator, right? You want to provide training. Right? Training is essential, right? No one, no matter who you hire, whether you hire an in-house or a remote solution, no one is going to walk through the door first day of your law firm and know everything they are supposed to know about your firm, about your software, and most importantly, the way you want your clients handled. There's going to be some training needed, right? So take time. If you take a little time up front, it's going to pay off amazingly well in the end. And just like we talked about, I want to stress collaboration. Because when you start collaborating and not just dictating, your staff is going to understand that you are in this together. It'll be a success when you're winning together, right? Yes, you're the authority figure. And yes, you always have the final say. But you will be surprised at the skill set and the talent and when somebody opens up to you, the benefit that your business will have, right? And the other thing that I can't stress enough is encourage initiative. One of the things that I continually say to my team, and if Joe's on the chat, he's going to start chatting this right away, is I'm like, be the subject matter expert. Joe does an amazing job going to trade shows. He is unbelievable on a show floor. And one of the things I have done is I have said, Joe, you're my subject matter expert. What's the field of elder laws and estate planning attorney telling us? Give me a heads up. You're the subject matter expert. Joe brings a lot to the table, more than I will know because I'm not on that show floor all the time, right? So I've encouraged the initiative and he takes it and he runs with it. And I'm telling you, if you find the right hire because you know yourself, you delegate the right tasks based on skill set and you practice your delegation and you get trained on your delegation and you encourage that initiative, your firm is going to take off. More things are going to come off your plate. You're going to have more time. You're going to enjoy your life more, right? And the most important thing, feedback. Joe and I are in constant communication. I am constantly giving him feedback. And you know what? Even though I'm the authority figure, Joe gives me feedback. Feedback like, Colleen, you talk way too fast. Colleen, you talk about things that in your 100 years of experience, I don't know yet. So slow down and give me more information so I can do better. Okay? Again, focus on the tasks that bring in the revenue for your firm. Do what you really love doing, and that's practicing the law. Get rid of the social media posts. Yeah, you can help create the content, but let somebody else write the post and post it on LinkedIn. Yeah, you really like playing around in Canva. It's fun, isn't it? But let somebody else make your business cards, right? Focus on the $10,000 and $10,000 an hour tasks, right? Okay, guys, we're in the home stretch. I can't say this strong enough, right? Give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now, right? Make sure you're giving and understanding that you're giving proper authority to the right skill set and reinforce how important their role is to your organization and how important that task is to the bigger picture. And make sure you're communicating the desired output so that they always are meeting your expectations. And believe it or not, within a few months of working with somebody, they are going to completely exceed your expectations. And they are going to start bringing you the ideas, the solutions before you even knew that you had an issue. They've already got the solution. Before you even knew you wanted to do that new billboard on I-275, your marketing assistant is bringing that to you going, look at how cost effective this could be and how many eyes we could have on our practice if we did this, right? That's what you want to strive for, right? Remember, you've got to give and delegate the work to the right skill set, making sure that that person is motivated. They will want more. You want to make sure that everybody is collaborating and working together. Sit in on a brainstorm session. Everybody's going to bring something to the table. Don't forget, they didn't go to law school. You did. The more you communicate your pain points of, I'm an attorney and I work with this older client and they are having a difficult time understanding X, Y, and Z. There is going to be someone who is sitting in that room with you, who can help you solve X, Y, and Z and assess the results, right? Are they doing well? Are they not doing well? Do you have to think about how long do I wait before a new hire or a seasoned hire needs to be termed? And is that one of your fears, is you don't like that confrontation? Because we can get you through that. Okay, little relief. Bottom line, growth comes from adding bandwidth. Bottom line, you got to hire to grow, right? You have to look at your hires and really think about this question. What gets them out of bed, right? How are you going to inspire and motivate? And the most important part, how are you going to empathize, right? Because they're in a totally different role than you are. And if you do that, there are some strong benefits. You are going to reap the benefits of empowering your staff. You are going to have increased efficiency. No more are you going to spend 30 hours a week going through your emails. You are going to have morale that is going to be off the charts, and that stuff is contagious. And you may be frustrated right now because you are sitting there going, I've got too much on my plate. I can't spend any time with what I like doing. I have no hobbies anymore. And guess what? When you start hiring the right staff, and you are delegating appropriately, your morale is going to go up. You may not even know how bad you are right now. You might be feeling miserable and you're like, well, it's okay. This is just what it is. It's not what it is. You are going to benefit from having hires around you that are going to lift you up. And more importantly, your clients are going to be happier. And when you have happy clients, we do testimonials. And when we do testimonials, it's catchy. Then everybody's looking at that going, I want to work with that lawyer because of this, and this, right? So your client service is going to dramatically improve. If you start to delegate appropriately, you are going to build trust. And when you build trust, you are going to go further in your law firm and your law firm is going to grow exponentially. Everybody has to know you are the authority figure, but that you are human. And I can't tell you how many great meetings my team and I have had because they know my faults, they know my fears, they know when I am struggling, and guess what? They communicate openly with me, and I know when they're struggling. So if their performance falls down for a day, I understand why. I get it. So be fair and be open and don't keep secrets. When you have great hires, you can communicate. And then the next thing that happens is loyalty. Because as we started this journey and we sit there and we say, it takes time and a lot of money to hire, I'm telling you, you will build loyalty and become a role model, and you will be listening to staff and they will want to stay at your firm. It is rare, right? What is the first thing when somebody says, what do you love about your job? Well, I love the people. And that's what it becomes about, right? Like everybody needs money to live. And we all have got financial responsibilities. But whenever I leave a job and somebody says, what are you going to miss most? It's the people. And that is what you are building. So what does success look like? You're going to have success, no doubt, right? I think the biggest thing to take away from this slide is weightlifting. When you can get over that fear of hiring, when you can train yourself and be a great delegator, you are going to feel a weight lifted. You are going to have stronger focus, and it's going to help build your firm. Guys, that's our time for today. I really appreciate you all being here. I want you to remember, when you have a bad day, you got this. You got this. And when you have questions about delegation, when you have questions about hiring, my email address is right there. Consider me a resource. Whether you decide to hire in-house, whether you decide to hire remotely, whether you decide to hire a receptionist versus a legal assistant and you need help with tasks that they should be doing, and what do I delegate, Colleen? There's my email address. I hope you guys will reach out. Any questions? I think Joe is still in the chat, and it has been a pleasure. I appreciate this time, and I really appreciate the fact that you have taken this time for more learning because everybody is very busy. Thank you.